pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Agenda review. The agenda is pretty focused tonight. It's a special meeting. Revised budget, town meeting articles, any other business, legal can come before us. Anybody need to do anything with this or want to add or change anything on the agenda? Hearing none. Comments from the select board, town manager, and citizens topics not on the agenda. Lisa, anything? Hi.
So my question under comments from citizens is, my husband and I signed a letter dated November 10th, and I dropped it in the drop box here at the town office on November 11th, and it's regarding the American flags that are on utility poles on Route 5 and 106 in Burkittsville. I never received any response from that letter. I didn't hear it brought up during a select board meeting, so I was just wondering if that letter got shared. And I have a copy I'm happy to read. It's not that long, but basically in a nutshell, have you guys seen that before I continue? I don't want to continue if you've seen it.
I have not.
Okay. So in a nutshell, the letter says that in 2014, my husband and I worked with Green Mountain Power. We started we raised funds for the flags that have been on the poles. I know you're very familiar with it. I think everybody's familiar with it. But anyways, we've done this since 2014. So we're hitting 10 years come Memorial Day. We've been able to replace flags. There's just over 40 displayed now from Memorial Day to Veterans Day. And we've always received donations from people in town, from businesses in town. We have received funds on 2 different occasions from the bottle redemption at the landfill. But I think based on inflation and everything else that's happening in our world right now, it's not fair for anybody to continue this project by raising and asking for donations. So in the letter that I sent, dated November 10th, I asked for the select board to consider putting money to replace the worn flags, the broken pieces, etc., on the annual basis in the town budget. And I know I'm in the 12th hour. My schedule hasn't allowed me to come to a meeting. I have been following them on SAPA. I haven't seen it brought up, so I had hoped that was considered when you were drafting the budget. We estimated, based on the cost that we put on in annually, to $3,000, $2,000 to $3,000 is what we would need to replace, if we had to replace the 44-ish flags due to storms, due to wear and tear, etc. So.
And all those, are they all needing to be replaced right now? Or do you have a good count on?
We would like to replace them when we hang them in May, if possible. Every couple of years, we have replaced all of them together just so they look nicer, and then we replace them on occasion as they get destroyed. So they don't look too bad when you're driving by, but as we wrap them up and store them in our basement, they are worn and faded. Not torn, but worn and faded. So if we could replace them all this year, that would be great. If we can't replace them all until next year, so be it. We only have a very few extras. We have a lot of miscellaneous parts and pieces, but I think we only have 4 actual flags left.
I got a recommendation.
Go. I was going to turn to you on that first
Okay.
before I come out with anything.
I don't think we need to put it in the budget this year since we're already about to deal with this budget. We don't want to do another revision, but we can go ahead and pay for those flag replacements through the general fund balance, and I can take care of that on my own.
So the other challenge that we will have, which we have plenty of time between now and May to work on this, is my husband and I have done this since 2014. And we've ordered everything, and we've written a check for it, and we've, done it that way. Exchange of money
Yeah.
on an honor system. Nothing's been filtered through the town accounting. So in theory, something's gonna have to be happening, so the town orders the flags through our vendor that we've established a relationship with. I'm sure the town's not gonna wanna cut Lisa and Jeff Slade a check for $3,000. So that, I know, I can envision that coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
So just so you know, I am.
The town
aware
would
of that.
be responsible for purchasing them anyways.
I think, yeah, if we purchase them directly, now that's as long as the board's okay with us spending money on the flags. I don't think.
I
it'd be-
have no problem with it. I was
Okay.
thinking of several options to do it, but you've got it.
You want a
under
motion?
control.
Yes,
Vote?
please.
Because I will make a motion to, how do you actually want it worded? I'll make a
Allow the
motion.
town manager to expend from fund balance the expenses necessary for flag replacement.
Okay. Thank you.
What he said.
And I will first that, and is there a second?
I'd go up to $4,000.
You want to do up to 4,000?
For partisan flags, yeah.
So are you gonna say on an annual basis, or just now, and then you're gonna talk about it in the budget for next year?
Yeah, and then in the budget for next year, we'll deal with it again. So,
I just don't want to have the motion every year.
yeah, I think we can just go ahead and put it in the budget next year.
It shouldn't be that much every year, because we don't replace the whole 44 flags every
Yep.
year. So it's just maintenance, a lot of maintenance, and then every now and then one off.
That makes sense.
We do have a motion and a second, so motion on the floor, and we're in discussion. Just so everybody
Yeah,
knows.
yeah.
What account would we want to associate this with moving forward? The Veterans Memorial?
No,
No?
no. It's never been affiliated with the Veterans Memorial. That's.
How about Parks and Rec? I'm just trying to figure out where can we associate this and what group of people is going to take over this thing?
Are we on Zappa?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll say it even if it's on Zappa. My husband wants to continue taking over this thing. So
Okay.
he wasn't totally on board with me coming to the board and asking for this, because this is something he really likes to do. And so he's the one that climbs the ladder and hangs the flags and takes them down and fixes them. And he wants to continue doing that. He's not asking to have someone else do that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but we-
Well, great. Thank you,
What we're
Jeff.
asking for is, we don't feel right asking for donations anymore. I think everybody's tapped out as far as donating money.
All right. Well, then that is something we could figure out as we,
It
meander
would be
down
a
the road.
it would be a new line item called town flags.
You'll just,
It's really not
okay.
affiliated with
We'll just
another
have,
board.
I mean, we could put it in town parks, but the problem with that is as you have people change throughout the years, people will forget where that is,
Right.
so.
I like the idea that there's a new line item for it.
Yeah.
And if Jeff is willing to continue to do that, thank you, that's wonderful.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and, as someday he decides not to, well, then we'll deal with that down the road. But for now, that's wonderful.
So you know what you're gonna do, where it's coming from.
Yeah,
all
Lisa will
set.
just tell me where to order the flags from, and then we'll place the order. We'll have to create an account with them, do a PO and stuff, but that's the way that we would handle that.
Easy.
Yeah,
Easy
pretty
peasy.
easy.
Any
I think
further
it's-
discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Mr. Fuller is not present tonight. Those present are unanimous. The motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Appreciate that. And appreciate Jeff doing that too. Make sure he knows that. Any other discussion or not discussion, comments, citizens, select board, or town managers topics not on the agenda?
I have something really quick. I don't want to drag this meeting out, but I just
Go ahead.
have one thing. We will have a police department capital plan for the board to review on Tuesday of next week. So our accountant is currently working on that, and we created the template today, and she has that going. We're going to be meeting on Thursday. This way we can
Okay.
visit that.
I have not yet created the board statement for the town report. I will create that, and I will send it out in an email, and I'm telling everybody to feel free to comment on it. This is nothing more than information about what we did a year ago. It's not any action, we're not taking action specific to the town in any way, shape, or form, so it does not violate the open meeting law. It's just the assembly of information to be placed in the town report, which everybody will see.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay? So I'll get that out. I'll get something written and I'll get it out so everybody can comment. And August, you've been here so long, I'm sure you'll have some. Okay. Fiscal year 25 revised budget.
All right, so I had to revise the general fund budget. On Friday, January 5th, I received a notice to terminate our MOU from the Weathersfield Police Department due to the departure of Detective Prince. Detective Prince was doing the SIU grant, which is the sexual investigations, and since he is no longer with us, that grant is going away. So that grant was in the budget. We finally got comfortable enough to where we were putting it in the budget, and now we've had to take it out. So this changed the police department budget by $60,000. Grant revenues were removed and grant expenses were also removed. Since the budget was approved on 12/5, there's also been staffing changes, which resulted in benefit changes. So we hired a new accountant, and the new accountant, the old accountant was budgeted for a single plan. You never know what somebody's going to opt into. And the new accountant opted into a employee plus child plan, which is a little bit more expensive, so I had to make those changes. Appropriations were in the budget. Thanks, Kelly, for helping us out there, because that was almost a double on the town meeting articles and in the budget. So
Yeah, you were just tired.
I was really tired. I'm sorry. But that's been corrected. So SAPA requested $700, as you know, and we're going to just find it in the budget next year. But since we're already making this revision, I did put that in there too. Fire department software costs increased. That was another thing that we learned about when the board was approving the budget on the 5th, and I just made that adjustment. And then the special article for the highway department. So that chart that you have right here, those are all the changes that were made between the last budget and then this budget. What will the tax rate be without the proposed articles passing? This is what you requested, Mike.
Yes.
The tax rate will be 0.7272 or 0.0192 higher than last year. So the total increase will be roughly $19 per $100,000 of property value. If all articles pass, so that'll include all the special articles, the highway appropriations, the tax rate will be 0.7636 or 0.0556 higher than last year. So that would make the total increase $56 per $100,000 in property value. These figures are based on the FY24 grand list and the current year's CLA. So if either of those things change, the tax rate
In either direction, could go up or down.
correct. But we don't know until the new grand list is established, which occurs in April.
So, assuming everything passes, we're looking at 5.5 cent increase.
Yes.
Without it, we're at 2 cents.
Less than, yeah, almost
Less
2
than
cents, you're
2
right.
cents. So the appropriations in the article add about 3.5 cents to the budget. But these are the decisions of the people at this point. Do I hear a motion, and we can go into discussion on this if you'd like?
Would the motion be to approve the amended budget or to approve the difference in amount?
You know, I didn't get a chance to look that up. It's an adopted budget. You can amend, you can rescind, you can withdraw. You can do, there's several steps you can go about getting there.
I'd
I'm
rescind.
not sure that amending works after action is taken. I think that's a motion that's on the floor can be amended. I think once the action is taken,
We would have to rescind.
yeah, you'd have to have a motion to rescind or reconsider. Actually, I don't think you want to reconsider. I think you want to rescind the motion.
I think that's where we need to be.
Yes.
So that would be the first motion on the floor, would be a motion to rescind the action of the board taken. Can you give me the date of that action, Brandon?
Yep, it's December 5th,
Yep, 12-5.
and I'm gonna give you the motion that you made. The motion to approve the FY20, oh, excuse me,
Dave Fuller made this motion.
to approve the FY25 general fund budget, $1,810,161, of which $1,368,442 to be raised by taxes. It was made by Mr. Fuller, seconded by Dr. Murray. The vote was all in favor.
Okay. Somebody got that stuff written down?
I'll make the motion.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Do you have your Robert's rules with you?
I do not.
Can you,
I can pull it up. on the
because
computer.
we've spent so much time with this recently.
Mhm.
I'm thinking that motion to rescind and motion to reconsider
Yeah,
both require the motion to be made by somebody. Actually, I think it's somebody that voted in the affirmative.
okay.
So I think we're okay. It doesn't have to be made by the person that made the motion. It has to be made by somebody that voted in the affirmative.
Okay.
Unanimous.
So it was unanimous, so I think we're okay.
Okay.
These things can get pretty sticky sometimes.
Okay, so it's a motion to rescind.
Yes.
Motion to rescind, yes.
So I move to rescind the budget, which the select board approved on December 5th, 2023. Total revenue of $1,810,161. Of that, tax revenue, $1,368,442.
Before we hear a second, can we add the word general to the
Yes.
budget?
Add the word to general.
General fund budget, so that
General
we're
fund
clear,
budget.
because we had 3 budgets we voted that night.
Yep, general fund budget.
We're only dealing with 1 budget here.
And I will second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second on the floor to rescind the decision, which has been outlined from 12/5, I'm sorry, 2023. Any discussion on the motion? To be clear, there are changes that occurred. We had comment that we didn't want to have to go through this kind of stuff, but it's what happens. It's the way it is. Is any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion to rescind, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is unanimous, and the previous decision is rescinded. Now we need a motion to adopt this budget. General fund tax revenue before, okay, so what are the numbers we need for this now, Brandon?
It's in the after column, right?
Yeah, it's $1,754,000.
132
Yep.
is the revenue?
Of which $1,372,413 is from property taxation.
Where do I see that? I don't see that on here.
In the after column, middle column at the bottom of the page.
Yeah,
No,
general
you're right,
fund-
your finger was right in that area, right there.
It's the top one,
First
general
two.
fund tax revenue, before and after.
Okay, so 1,372,413 is the tax revenue. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead, August, with a motion,
Okay.
or anybody, I'm sorry.
I move to approve the total general fund budget in the amount of $1,754,132, of which from general fund tax revenue would be $1,372,413.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this budget. Now, Brandon, these numbers that we just listed do not include, correct?
The highway article or
And,
the special
or
appropriation.
the special appropriations.
Correct.
Correct. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
No,
Okay.
I made the mistake already. It would be a shame if I did it again.
Well, it's okay. You know, we just want to make sure we get it right now. It's- Okay, so the motion is made and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. It is unanimous, the motion carries. I have previously stated Mr. Fuller is absent. He had called me and told me that he wasn't sure he would be able to make it tonight. So the motion carries. That moves us to the special articles.
Or the annual town meeting warning.
Yep. Thank you. Sorry. So we've got the whole budget here in the packet. I'm gonna zoom through. Oh yeah, there they are, right there. Okay. So, let's start with discussion on the articles. I don't see, oh, there it is, right there. We've got
You're
8,
page
9, 10,
20.
11.
24, or you're in the,
I just wanted to see where we start with the articles that are not in the budget,
okay.
because those are all the articles we're approving. 11 on through to 19. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Those are the articles that we're looking at. So let's go through these, make sure they're what we want, and then we'll do them as a slate. Or do you want to do them separate? At least do the Highway 11, Article 11 separate.
Is it typical in the past, I can't remember, that the board approves every article? Or does it approve the town meeting warning as a whole?
Town meeting warning as a whole.
Okay.
But have we agreed on the language? We did agree on the language for the
Yes.
Article 11, so
Yes.
that's done.
Correct. We did.
Yeah, so we're good.
I think it is just on the warning as a whole.
Yep, I think you're right. I'm just taking.
And they all have not included in the budget after them, right? She hooked me up to the wrong packet here.
Oh, did
so-
she?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, they did.
I got last meeting's packet on here.
Wendy, they're.
Oh, I'm done to you now.
There you go.
You can take over that one.
That would make it a lot easier.
I was just gonna go by the old one, where it just says not in the budget on them, that's all. That's the only thing you changed on them, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't have a problem with it.
so I guess we're ready for a vote on the, to accept the articles for the warning. Anybody?
So the motion is to accept the articles and approve the warning?
The motion would be to approve the warning for annual town meeting, Saturday, March 2nd.
And Tuesday, March 5th.
And Tuesday, March 5th. Voting on Tuesday, March 5th. That would be the motion.
You can do that one, Wendy.
I'll make a motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the warning, let's say approve and accept, is that okay? The warning for the annual town meeting, Saturday, March 2nd, and voting Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. Any discussion on the motion?
Someone over there, Mike.
Hearing none?
I have one.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa, go ahead.
So, and again, I apologize, I haven't been to a meeting until tonight, and I know you guys are ready to button this all up, but, just as an outsider looking in and following through on everything, I question why, articles aren't on here, and haven't been regularly, to put X amount of dollars in the police cruiser reserve fund, X amount of dollars in the fire department equipment fund, and X amount of dollars in the highway fund. X amount of dollars, not geared towards a purchase. So those reserve funds have always been funded, obviously, you guys all know this, right, to spend. So, looking back, there was a article in 2017 to put $7,000 into the police cruiser reserve fund. That failed. In 2018, the article was put on again to put $7,500 in the reserve fund. In 2018, I wasn't able to find in my little bit of research whether that article passed or not, but it hasn't been put on a warning since. And it's not put on this year. And police cruisers have been purchased out of the general fund, so I assume that's why police cruisers haven't gone before the voters to vote on, so maybe the fund doesn't need to have money put in it. So that, I just wonder that out loud. And then I wonder, okay, we just bought a new fire truck, you would think you'd have to replenish that reserve fund, and there's no money put on there. And the highway fund. So the $100,000 that's on there this year for the highway fund is all but spent. I mean, it's targeted to go towards a purchase. So that was one question, and I don't need answers. I just want it known that, that observation was made. So if somebody has an explanation as to why that procedure has changed, I would be interested in knowing that.
Go. You want it, or you?
Yeah, so there is 40,000 in the budget that will be transferred to the fire apparatus reserve account. It was an article last year, and we did make the transfer, but this year we had fund balance that we allocated towards that. So instead of raising taxes, we decided to use the fund balance we had from prior years to transfer that into the fire apparatus reserve account. The police.
So we don't actually, you said that we purchased from the general fund only because we don't really. We move the funds into the reserve account and the purchases occur there. And I think you mentioned the highway. We currently have $219,000 in the acquisition reserve account for the highway. And I believe we're putting 40,000 in that as well.
Yeah.
So that's going to $260,000. So it wasn't necessary to raise taxes to fund those reserve accounts at this time. Certainly when it's necessary, that's what we'll have to do. Because we're also preparing the capital plan. The
Yes.
town manager's working on the capital plan for the entire town, which is going to lay out all of those capital purchases and scheduled so we can better focus on what we need, where's it coming from, and when do we need to do that.
And how much do we actually need to put away each year?
Yes.
That's what we're working on determining. But the police cruiser, we had an SIU grant. So 10,000 from that grant every year has been going into police cruiser reserves. And that was funded from the state.
And then my other comment on the warrant is the Article 13 through 19, I guess, to appropriate certain amount of money to certain nonprofits.
Would be 12 through 19.
12 through 13, sorry, I turned my page too early. In the past, those entities used to come before the select board, and the select board used to decide if they were gonna put them on the warrant or not. I don't believe that happened this year. It did?
Well, sort of.
So
Well, because that's typically done from one of two places. Either they're asking for an increase beyond what they have asked for in the past, or they're new. If it's somebody has come before us in the past, they only have to submit a letter to us requesting the article to go before the voters, because we really don't have a say in it. So we don't really hear from them every time unless there's an increase in their request, or it's somebody new.
Okay. I just thought it was weird that, for example, healthcare and rehab services of southeastern Vermont, $2,683. It's a weird amount of money, and it's the exact same amount of money that they asked for previously. They weren't on the 2023 warrant for some reason, but 2 years ago, and I'm thinking it just.
Because it's every 2 years.
It's every 2 years.
It's every 2 years. But that's policy.
And they submit the request to us, and then from there we enter these articles on, so they asked for 2683.
They probably want as much as they can get. That happens to be the number that's there, and they know if they go up, then they're gonna have to come talk to us.
Yeah, right. Good point.
Yeah, they go 2685, they gotta come talk to us. Unfortunately. Anything else, Lisa?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So any other discussion on the motions? I think one that's really important to discuss a little bit is that Article 11. I've had people ask me about it already. Why are you doing it this way? I think there's a couple reasons that stand out for me. The biggest one is to avoid interest by doing it this way. I didn't want to add that kind of money to the tax rate, but you're going to anyway. If you take out a loan, you're going to, for 5 to 7 years, you're going to pay somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000, right? $2,300 a year.
Yep.
In interest for that period of time. So for 5 years, that's $10,000 that you're paying in interest. So doing it this way got us out of that part anyway. Anything else you can add to that, Brendan, as far as?
I think the biggest thing is dealing with the interest rates right now. You know, we're spending $10,000 a year on interest on the fire truck, and that's money that we're just that's not doing anything for us. So if we can pay for this expense without paying for interest, I think that's a huge benefit to the taxpayers.
I remember the other point that you made as Brendan gave us 3 alternatives, and this was his recommendation to us. And part of that recommendation included the fact that we were still kind of in discussion of what to get.
Yes.
And exactly what, for whatever reason, is necessary. So it gave us more time also to figure out exactly what that's going to be. And either way, it'll fit it'll get the job done.
It gives us time to develop the invitation for bid.
Yep.
And then allow people to come back with their bids, and then we can review them at this table.
I just have one observation too, along those same lines. Rather than increase the overall budget, this is the addition of a new piece of equipment to meet needs in Weathersfield. Mm-hmm. It's not something that you're going to purchase every year. So by doing the article and using the other methods to purchase this equipment, it doesn't have a long-term impact on the budget. It's a one-time thing this year to add a new capability for the highway department that's available year-round that has not been available.
I do believe that it was stated that this is expected to be at least a 15-year machine. Lisa?
I think it would have been a little more transparent if you added to replace the whatever backhoe. Because, now, I mean, the voters are voting for $100,000 to go into that fund. I know the intent, because I watched the meetings, so I know the intent is to replace the backhoe with another piece of equipment. But, if something else breaks, or if we hire another truck driver, we may want to purchase a truck.
But we have the ability right now to take this under advisement and add that. Is it appropriate to do that? As far as just to add, for future highway equipment purchases, you could even put it in parentheses, replacement of the backhoe. Yeah, I mean, the purpose for this is she's right. The purpose is to replace the backhoe. It's not just to put money in the account. We intend to buy a machine with this in the coming year. And we can explain some of that. Unfortunately, not everybody gets all that information, but we're.
To replace backhoe with an excavator, a wheeled excavator.
I don't think I'd go to that extent.
Okay.
I would just say for the purpose of replacing
a backhoe.
The backhoe.
There's more discussion to be had.
What's that?
There's more discussion to be had.
Correct.
That's a good point though, because that was an instrumental part of the decision, was that rather than replace a backhoe, purchase a new piece of equipment.
But it does say for highway equipment purchases.
But it doesn't nail down the fact that you have a plan to do something.
I see.
It just kind of means like you're putting $100,000 in for, and if, when I find out, wait a minute, you got $219,000 in that account, you're putting $40,000 in there, and now you want to put another 100 on top of that?
Yeah.
And you're not telling, am I making sense? I hear exactly what you're saying. The point is, we are going to buy a piece of equipment, and we should be identifying that we are going to buy a piece of equipment. That's what this money's for. It's not just going in there to sit. So we should make that clear, I think, if we can.
I think you could just do, as you said, do a parentheses, replace backhoe, because that's the intent.
Would that lead people to believe that it's replacing a backhoe with a backhoe, or?
No, it just says replacing it, doesn't say what you're replacing it with.
We do present this at town meeting too, where we're gonna go into more detail there, but not everybody goes to town meeting.
Exactly, and not everybody asks questions or even gets answers. On the low side, let's see, if there's nothing else happening, you're probably gonna see somewhere between 300 and 400 people vote, and about 50, 60, maybe 80 are gonna know what we're talking about regarding this issue.
That's true.
So that's important.
Yeah, maybe we should be more specific with the article.
Because everyone gets a book, so
Yeah.
everyone,
So, how should we
to be placed in the.
revise this article?
Highway.
But we would amend that one article, we'd amend the one article to add the words backhoe replacement.
You could take before the question, get rid of that question mark, first of all, because you're making a statement anyway. It shouldn't be a question mark, should it? Oh, yeah, I guess it should. Shall the voters approve $100,000 to be placed in the highway equipment acquisition fund for future highway equipment purchases, i.e. replacement of backhoe, question mark. Does that work, you think? Helps anyway, right?
It's better.
At least kind of lets people know we're replacing a piece of equipment. And
The article says for future highway equipment purchases.
Can't you get rid of that
So
whole,
it's not,
can you just put on there, approve $100,000 to be placed in the highway equipment acquisition fund to replace
a backhoe.
the backhoe instead of having
I think that
future
would be
highway
fine.
equipment purchases even in there?
Yeah, I think that's a good
I mean,
idea.
that's
yes, thank you.
That doesn't even sound right when you,
I'm tired.
That's better.
I figured August would pick it up, but I was waiting.
Omit needless words, drunken white.
Yeah, August and I are about wordsmithed out here.
Make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, no, I like that even better. I do. that sound better to you too?
It does, thank you.
Just get rid of that and, how,
I mean, our backhoe's 15 years old or whatever it is, you may want to put the year in there. I mean, they may think you got a 2000 backhoe, and people would say, no, you don't need a new backhoe. I don't know. I don't know what you want to do or how you want to do it.
she's got another good point. Add the age of that.
To
that
replace the
machine.
2006, is that what it was, 2006?
Six
Did I get the year
2004 or
right?
6, somewhere in there.
To replace the 2006 backhoe.
I don't have that one.
You can get that from Ray, Brandon.
I almost want to say it was
But
2006.
you know what we're doing now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, very smart.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Well, there's concern that we'll get a no on this, and we don't want a no on this. I mean, it's important to get this piece of machinery, and really the whole purpose of this was to give us time to figure out which exact piece of machinery that's going to be, and avoid interest, which is, so we're using our own money.
So shall the voters of the town of Weathersfield approve $100,000 to be placed in the Highway Equipment Acquisition Fund to replace the 2006 backhoe?
For the purchase of,
For the replacement.
or the replacement of,
For the replacement of the 2006 backhoe?
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
I gotta check on that year, but I almost think it's 2006.
I'll confirm that year.
Yeah, just confirm that. I think we'll be fine. Yeah, I think that's better. It at least puts some focus to it, anyway. And at least now they'll ask the question, well, why does this look like this? Because it is different than what we've done in the past. But that has more to do with the interest than anything else.
Okay.
Okay?
All set.
All right. Any further discussion on the articles? That article will be changed. Brandon has the language. You've all heard it. Everybody agree with it?
Yes.
Yes.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion to approve the articles and warning for the annual town meeting, Saturday, March 2nd, with voting on Tuesday, March the 5th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. Again, Mr. Fuller is absent.
And I'll have those ready for you to sign on next Tuesday.
Okay. Very good. Lisa, I really appreciate your help on that. Good job. Any other business that can legally come
I
before
just
the
got
board?
I don't have another business, but I just got a quick question. Is there a reason why we couldn't have done this next Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
If for any reason we couldn't get through it, we were screwed, because he's gone on vacation for 2 weeks, like the day after, right?
Sorry.
I'm leaving that night, so.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So this gave us time to mull through it a little bit, and if anything happened,
So time was of the essence.
it was.
If you wanted opportunity for changes, because otherwise I would have to probably, I could probably make it work, but
He told me he was gonna take a different flight. I said, no, you're not. And then he's driving down the road with his wife.
yeah, and you almost let the cat out of the bag.
He's like, no, don't say it. Which I just did it on a recording, so you better delete this or blow your TV up or something. Any future agenda items to discuss at this time?
No.
Anyway, I wasn't gonna let you do that anyway.
It
so.
wouldn't have been a big deal. I mean, she could go fly by herself.
No, you're not doing it.
Okay.
You're going. I got a hog tie and throw you
I'll
in
make
the
a motion
bag.
to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second.
Thank you.
Aye.
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 Motion to adjourn is accepted.